The backlog of videos keeps building and I keep neglecting projects. Anyways, here's another overview. The Yo-Yo Factory Miracle. Special thanks to homeboy Charles for sending this and all this other junk on screen right now for me to try out for review, especially the Miracle. This is foreshadowing for the rest of the video. So Charles sent all this stuff out for me to just try for the sake of trying it, and I accidentally threw the wreck straight into the cement. Sorry, Charles. But when I tried the Miracle, I was like, shit, I gotta keep this around for a while for a video review, because the Miracle is nuts. Now, the shape of the Miracle really isn't the crazy bit. The crazy part is the construction. The Miracle has brass rims hidden under the polycarbonate outer rims. Brass is something of a rarity in yo-yos, mostly seen in bimetals. But brass is actually heavier than steel, so you can achieve different weight distributions. Brass has been experimented with before with stuff like the Brassy Dawn and the Yo-Yo Factory Bind, which I don't own. The Bind had hidden brass rims under aluminum rims. It was neat, but generally speaking, I've kind of seen brass as more of an exotic metal choice, like something you put on a yo-yo instead of stainless steel as a fun substitute. That was until Charles sent me the Miracle. I just get the vibe that these brass rims were very planned. These seem way deliberate, especially with the plastic shell. My initial reaction to seeing the plastic shell was that it was put there to protect the brass rims, because brass is a softer metal, but I think that plastic rim shell is there as a method to adequately fill in the gaps of the profile without adding too much weight. Emphasis on I think, because I don't actually know what Yo-Yo Factory was thinking when they designed this thing. But lightning struck and this thing is a banger. It unironically might be the best performing yo-yo on the market, period. I'll explain in more detail later on, but for now, let's look at the shape and get into the problem that these rims are. The Miracle shape is rather safe. It's a no-nonsense type shape. A fairly large response bump that goes up to sloped walls and a curved rim so it doesn't hurt on the catch. The shape is easy, sleek, and safe for performance-oriented design. Simple hub with a spike nipple. This design is very no-nonsense, especially since the aluminum body is 7075. Now, these rims. I'm fairly certain that the magic of the Miracle is in these rims, but I'm concerned about the fragility of the Miracle. A big part of the reason people were apprehensive about the Miracle when it dropped was these rims in tandem with the massive $160 price tag. Cheap, this yo-yo is not. And asking people to pay $160 for a yo-yo that used to have visible rim shift in its product pictures is a tall ask. It's not a great look. If a product is fragile enough that it can rim shift with no one playing with it, how fragile is it in day-to-day use? This was also around the time that the Shutter Evo released. The Shutter Evo was infamous at the time it released for having a rim fitment issue so bad that the rims would be displaced simply by doing a bind. The Shutter Evo was mocked a lot for that issue, especially because it shipped with a rim alignment tool. But it was generally agreed that the Shutter Evo was a great yo-yo that just had a structural flaw that could easily be managed with a tool it literally shipped with. People eventually just started swapping the rings on the Shutter Evo, which is just unhinged. But with the Shutter Evo and the picture of visible rim shift for the Miracle, people were very apprehensive. People still kinda are. Even I dread hitting this Miracle on the floor because I don't want to bust it up. So understand that while I adore the Miracle for the way it plays, and I rate it very, very highly, it has the big asterisk of structural insecurity. It's a great yo-yo, just as long as it's in one piece. Now, let me explain how it is a great yo-yo. If you are concerned about the performance of the Miracle, don't be. It's good, objectively. It might be the best yo-yo in terms of raw performance at the time of making this video. To be frank, it's powerful, it's stable, it's maneuverable, and it controls really well. And to top it off, it has some of the best horizontal play I've experienced yet. The power and stability are some of the best I've experienced. Absolutely no tilt or directional sway. Binds are tight and consistent, and the Miracle comes back very solidly. Speed play and maneuverability are something that were pleasantly surprising with the Miracle. I was anticipating something slower and less maneuverable. However, The Miracle's pacing leans more towards a comfortable average. It's not particularly reluctant, it's really maneuverable, and is very in tune with how the player moves it. This makes it solid for rail and speed combos. It won't naturally boost the speed or anything, but since it won't hold you back, I could see it going crazy in the right hands. The rim-weighted sluggishness sensation is there, but not very prominent or forward. This highly natural pacing and lack of sluggishness, I find, makes the Miracle one of the best controlling yo-yos I've experienced. All around, it does what you want it to do. You put in the command, it executes the command. This makes it a beast for tech with high controllability. Its width isn't so wide it catches during tight, high-density tech. Its power can also handily withstand long tech combos and allow you to really just play with it however you want, regardless of cleanliness or technique. And this goes hand in hand with Zontals. The Miracle is a perfect storm for Zontals. It ticks every relevant box for Zontals I can think of. The pacing, stability, the shape, the width, you name it. It comes together for some of the most effortless, fun, and pleasant feeling Zontals I've felt in a yo-yo. Miracle is a good yo-yo. It's, in fact, one of the best yo-yos available right now, period. So, how does it stack up against other yo-yos in its bracket, like the Fragility and the Galaxy Diver? I'll start with the Fragility because they both share brass rims. The main difference between these two is the overall pacing. The Fragility is much slower and more overall reluctant than the Miracle. Both have a comfortable maneuverability that feels pleasant and natural, but overall, the Fragility has a slower overall pacing. This kind of results in the Fragility almost having a luxuriously smooth playstyle. The Miracle, in comparison, feels much more competitively oriented. It has a more aggressive playstyle than the Fragility overall. They're both generally good and performant yo-yos, but overall, the Miracle just has a more aggressive, quick-paced playstyle. Onto the Galaxy Diver. Specifically the 7075 version 2 for clarification. Generally speaking, the pacing on the Miracle is more pleasant than on the Diver. Just kinda in general, the Miracle is more pleasant than the Diver. The Miracle doesn't feel like a tube on a string. The Miracle has just a little less forward of a rim-weighted sluggishness sensation. It's the predominant difference between the two in terms of play. The Miracle, overall, just feels more pleasant. Just in general, the Miracle is a pleasant, highly performant yo-yo. It's one of the best yo-yos available right now. Just be wary of these rims. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you again to Charles for sending this to me. This is going on SS tier on my tier list. Stay healthy, everyone. Adios.